Hey, what's up, casters? So I missed a bunch of spoilers. Not really missed them. I definitely saw them at some point. I just never went and made a video about them to talk about them because I much just slipped my mind. So thanks to these two guys for mentioning the cards that I missed images of, and we're gonna just jump into set 2 spoilers for Frostfall. Starting with the basic Mountains of Boreas. It's the Frost Stadium. It does the stadium thing. It's either going to be fully forest levels of good if Frost has good stats, or every other stadium bad because no good stats. You can't really say too much about it other than it's a stadium. Again, like fully forest is great because there's a lot of really good earth stats. You could kind of say Volcanic Forges go with like Necruff and Valkyries as well. So if Frost gets some 5 attackers or things that get bigger with Frost's enchants in play, this will be a good card. If Frost continues in the route that we've seen with like Urskoat, Bob, even Kryling to an extent with bad stats, it's going to be not that great. We're going to have to see where Frost lies in the stat pie of like, does it get 5 attacks, does it get 5 defenses, what does it do? We don't know yet, but it's probably going to be, given at least the cards that we've seen so far, probably not that great to okay, give or take. I'm not really sure, but I don't think it's going to be that fantastic, at least not given what we've seen so far, unless there's some more synergies with Frost stadiums, like kind of like how Centaur has a fully forest synergy. Maybe we see some synergy with Mountains of Boreas in some way, then it might be good. This one is the interesting card of the video, Cerebral. 2/2 for Underwater. When you cast this Cerebral, an opponent must reveal each face-down card on their field. Destroy each non-counter rune revealed this way. When you compare this to like a P-Gust, it's got pros, cons, so it's non-repeatable like a P-Gust is, and it doesn't always destroy things. And when you're playing against a water deck, you don't need to bluff as much because water has no way to destroy runes. So I kind of like the situational destruction. It's great if your opponent's not expecting it and they have a bunch of bluffs in the back row just to, keep up that air of mystery, but then you play Cerebral. The best thing, I think this is going to be a one of in most water decks that run Foamy, because hey, if your opponent crashes into your Foamy, you swap a Cerebral out just to see what they have face down, or blow some stuff up as you go into your 2 cost, like a Caprigal or something, so you know what you're going up against. Then I can see it seeing play. Otherwise, I think this card's kind of bad. It's at most, I think, going to be a one of in, again, like water-focused decks as a way to potentially peek and get some information. But it's not going to do much on its own. It's just there to be kind of a tech piece, I think, for Foamy. Maybe if you know your opponent's running a bunch of invokes and stuff that they love to bluff, it might be a tech piece for a specific matchup. But generally, I don't think this card's that great. I know a lot of people are afraid, like, oh, it's crazy, it destroys the bluff, your opponent can't bluff anymore. It's like, again, against water, your opponent's generally not bluffing. If they're playing something maybe like Water Thunder where they have access to Rune Disruption, and then you play the Cerebral so you can see what you're blowing up before you play it, that's a cool synergy. But then you're still sticking a 2/2 body for what, information, and then another card to go and destroy something, so you're basically going like 1.5 cards for 1. Yeah, I'm not super keen on this card. It will definitely see play. I'll give it that. It's definitely going to see some amount of play. At least as like a one of in a water deck. Maybe you run multiples in a deck that runs like thunderstorms and stuff, so you know what you're thunderstorming before you drop the thunderstorm and use your counter runes to defend it. But other than that, I don't think it's going to see a ton of play. Just it's going to be a one of probably in a lot of water decks, and that's the most I'm going to give it credit for. But yeah, we'll see how it progresses as we play into the rest of Frostfall. See what other support water gets. And then lastly, Snow Waddle. 2/4 for 1 Frost, so defensive body. When you normal cast Snow Waddle, search your deck for an Elestral that costs 1 Frost and Thunder, add to your hand. So there's no way to tell you how good this card is because we have no idea what it searches. There are no cards in the game that are both Frost and Thunder costed, and this is specifically cost 1 Frost and 1 Thunder. It can't cost like 2 Frost, it can't cost 2 Thunder. Can't cost like 2 Frost, 1 Thunder, or 2 Thunder, 1 Frost. It specifically has to cost Frost Thunder. And right now we have no Elestrals that cost that. We can probably assume that maybe that's what its Ascension is. Or, I mean, that's got to be what its Ascension's got to be Frost Thunder, right? Like, what else is this gonna do? I mean, we have to see what other Frost Thunder cards we see. I will say, this is the first 2 cost searcher, which means it's automatically going to see at least some amount of play if Frost Thunder cards are relevant in Frostfall. Being able to search out a 2 cost on a 1 cost is pretty strong, because it means you basically, if you can 6 no waddle, you're going to be able to ascend it next turn without going down cards in hand, which is pretty relevant. One of the biggest issues with 2s and 3s is they generally make you go down in cards in hand to get them into play. This replaces itself on play with that 2 cost you want to ascend to it, so you're not going down cards in hand effectively for this card. You just got to make sure it stays in place so you can ascend to it. So with that in mind, I think it's a good card. We'll have to see what it ascends into, but if what if it ascends into is good enough to see play, or any other Frost Thunder card is good enough to see play, this will see play because you play it, you grab what you're going to ascend into, your opponent gets some information, they know what you're going into, but then you just set some back row to protect this. Hopefully they don't earthquake it and go into that 2-drop. So it's, although we don't know what it really will be doing, we have enough kind of information to go, well, it's good if. I mean, it's definitely probably one of the better 1-drop searchers, being able to find out its replacement that you can ascend into. Again, helping out those ascensions. Ascensions are tough to play in set 1. So cards that help go into their ascensions, especially since we've all seen Gigaflora go rapidly from a Giraflora into Gigaflora in 1 turn, we're definitely seeing like a more rapidization or increase in how efficiently you can get into 2s and 3s, which I think is good for the game. People want to play their cards, and unfortunately a lot of 3-drops right now aren't playable. This is a card that will make at least 2-drops somewhat playable, and we see some other cards already in the set that might help make 2s and 3s more viable. So that's the end of this video. I just wanted to catch up on these cards because I haven't talked about them yet, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe for more, and I appreciate every single one of you. We're almost at 400 subs. And at 400 subs, I'm going to potentially start a giveaway. I got to figure out exactly how that's going to work. But we're going to do a 400 sub giveaway kind of thing to push to 500. And we'll see what happens from there. So, talk to you guys later. Have a good one.